Hare Krishna. Happy 4th of July, although I guess by the time you're seeing this,
it's the 5th.
It'll be the 5th of July. So, we are in Baker Park.
In Frederick.
And,
in Maryland.
In Maryland.
In USA.
In USA. And who
Shout out to Dawn Nicholson. His brother used to live in Maryland.
Yes.
What a small world.
Don't know where he used to live in Maryland.
Yeah, I haven't downloaded the full message. I don't have much data, but
we'll find that out.
We will.
So today's the 4th of July, and there will be some fireworks happening.
Yeah.
And around the area, specifically here in the park.
Yeah.
And but the real fireworks are happening in the Bhagavatam, or they were happening in the Bhagavatam recently with Lord Shiva and Daksha, and now we're starting to see the recovery from the fireworks. Okay, so where are we reading?
Canto 4, Chapter 6, Text 26.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 26. After the damsels of the heavenly planets bathe in the water, it becomes yellowish and fragrant due to the kumkum from their bodies. Thus the elephants come to bathe there with their wives, the she-elephants, and they also drink the water, although they are not thirsty. Text 27. The airplanes of the heavenly denizens are bedecked with pearls, gold, and many valuable jewels. The heavenly denizens are compared to clouds in the sky, decorated with occasional flashes of electric lightning. Purport. The airplanes described in this verse are different from the airplanes of which we have experience. In the Srimad Bhagavatam and all the Vedic literatures, there are many descriptions of vimana, which means airplanes. On different planets, there are different kinds of airplanes. On this gross planet Earth, there are airplanes run by machine. But on other planets, the airplanes are not run by machine, but by mantric tins. They are also used especially for enjoyment by the denizens of the heavenly planets, so that they can go from one planet to another. On other planets, which are called Siddha Lokas, the denizens can travel from one planet to another without airplanes. The beautiful airplanes from the heavenly planets are compared here to the sky because they fly in the sky. The passengers are compared to the clouds. The beautiful damsels, the wives of the denizens of the heavenly planets, are compared to lightning. In summation, the airplanes with their passengers, which came from higher planets to Kailash, were very pleasant to look at. It's really nice because it shows such an advanced civilization, and it just goes to show how degraded this material planet Earth is. Because to be fair, there's great technology and there's pretty amazing things that are being done, but like we're here now, we came on an aeroplane much quicker than...
Not here to this place, but
no,
to America.
Land of the free. But, oh, no, they think we're filming.
It's pointing this way. It's filming us.
So, we're confusing everyone with our filming.
I'm not confused.
So what I was saying was, okay, we came here much quicker than, say when Prabhupada crossed the ocean, he was on the Jaladuta, a horrible experience, as he himself says, seasick, had heart attacks, and it took how long did it take him?
Almost 30 days.
So that's pretty horrendous. And so I get seasick as well, so that's pretty horrendous. Then he was explaining how surprising, later on, how he was just crisscrossing the earth quickly. But my point I'm making is how polluting it is and actually damaging to Mother Earth, this advanced technology, the cars, the aeroplanes, the ships, whatever, it's not. But here you can see none of that. They can use mantras and they can fly about. They're not leaving pollution. It's not horrible noises as it goes by like it is, what we see. It's a very advanced
We often hear the term
civilization.
Pushpa Vamana,
Pushpa.
which means flower, flower power, powered by flowers.
So it's interesting.
But what's interesting, I think, is that it's not. First of all, it shows that there's lots of life beyond just this planet, in a universal, interstellar kind of level,
Yeah.
and they're moving around quite freely. And all this was being talked about thousands of years
Yeah.
ago, and now to this day, there's still, you could say, I guess, no official statement that there is life on any other planet. At best, they might have a picture of something from Mars where they say, looks like this might be a pool where some frog could be born or something like that, some
Yeah.
one-celled amoeba. But, there's no official recognition that there is anything greater than us. Which I guess in one sense could be, you might say, is quite limiting thought system. But on the other hand, there seems to be no evidence. They certainly aren't showing up here and walking around that we can see.
That we can see. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because as we may have mentioned, Prabhupada, we sat outside Conway Hall, if you remember, and Prabhupada, when he gave lectures there in central London, Conway Hall, he saw Narada Muni and Lord Brahma. They would come to his talks there. And also he said to put the 2 seats on the altar of Sri Sri Radha and Danishwara, because he said Lord Brahma and Narada Muni or Lord Shiva.
Well, there's differing opinions, but I'm sure all of them were there.
Yeah, come for Guru Arati. So that's why if you go to visit Sri Sri Radha and Danishwara, there are 2 little Vyasasans seats on either side of the altar, specifically on their altar, because Prabhupada said specifically they come to see them during Guru Arati. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Okay, text number 28. How are we looking here? Okay. Text 28. While traveling, the demigods passed over the forest known as Sogandika, which is full of varieties of flowers, fruits, and desired trees. While passing over the forest, they also saw the regions of Yaksheshwara. Purport. Yaksheshwara is also known as Kuvera, and he is the treasurer of the demigods. Okay, Ishwara, Yaksha, Ishwara, lord of the Ishwara, the Yakshas, treasurer of the demigods. In the description of him in Vedic literature, it is stated that he is fabulously rich. It appears from these verses that Kailash is situated near the residential quarters of Kuvera. So there you go. I mean, it isn't just on this planet that the people who got the money live in the most, prominent kind of places. It is also stated here that the forest was full of desire trees. In Brahma Samhita, we learn about the desire tree which is found in the spiritual world, especially in Krishna Loka, the abode of Lord Krishna. We learn here that such desire trees are also found in Kailash, the residence of Lord Shiva, by the grace of Krishna. It thus appears that Kailash has a special significance. It is almost like the residence of Lord Krishna. Well, this is quite powerful, that Kailash is given such a powerful prominence. But I think if you look on the kind of astrological map that's that maybe we've shown a picture of it before, that shows the different levels. Kailash is just over the river. Oh God, I can't remember the name of the river now. If you know the name of the river that separates the material world and the spiritual world, put it in the comments. So just past that is Kailash, but it seems that it's a very opulent place, and of course we know that
Virat. No,
it's not the Virat River. I don't think,
gone,
but I know it's something like that. So Viraja, maybe it's Viraja. Might be Viraja. So anyway, of course Lord Shiva and Krishna, they are very, very similar in many ways, and it's described in Brahma Samhita that like the distinction between milk and yogurt, or milk and curd, milk and dahi, that the Lord and Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna are so similar and both so empowered like that. And desire trees. I mean, hello, can you imagine? I mean, what would you do if you had a desire tree in your backyard, or if you just stumbled upon a desire tree? What would be your desire? I remember being on Yatra with Radhanath Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, and he said that when we get, because we were in South India, he said when you go in front of Tirupati Balaji, he said everyone comes and prays to Balaji for money. He said, but when we go in front of Balaji, we should pray to be Trinadapi Sunichena to Ora Pisahishana Amani Namanadena. And he said, and then we should pray to become the dasa, nudasa, nudas. And in that way, we become the servant of the servant of the servant. And this should be our prayer. Please let me be engaged in your service in the right consciousness and mentality.
All right. One more?
Sure, why not?
Text 29. In that celestial forest, there were many birds whose necks were coloured reddish and whose sweet sounds mixed with the humming of the bees. The lakes were abundantly decorated with crying swans, as well as strong-stemmed lotus flowers. Purport. The beauty of the forest was intensified by the presence of various lakes. It is described herein that the lakes were decorated with lotus flowers and with swans who played and sang with the birds and the humming bees. Considering all these attributes, one can imagine how beautiful this spot was and how much the demigods passing through enjoyed the atmosphere. There are many paths and beautiful spots created by man on this planet Earth, but none of them can surpass those of Kailash as they are described in these verses. Yeah, surprising, because just the impression of Lord Shiva, and he's austere and he's just sitting there with the skull garland and covered in ashes and hobgoblins around him, but where he lives it's very beautiful actually. You know, you wouldn't expect that. You just expect him to live in a cave in a mountain, but it's actually quite pleasant.
Quite pleasant. Like, almost the most pleasant place. Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, I guess it's kind of like you might see a modern day kind of rock star. For some reason I was thinking like Lenny Kravitz or someone, you know. I mean, he's handsome. Of course, Lord Shiva is considered, you know, quite a handsome gentleman. And but he just looks a bit rough and ready, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can imagine, you know.
Wild child.
Some rock star with lots of tattoos and piercings and big matted up hair, you know, showing up to his Beverly Hills mansion. Kind of like, what? You know, and then he's like quite a cultured guy.
Yeah, very cultured.
Okay, so we'll read one more and then we'll call it. Text 30. All these atmospheric influences unsettled the forest elephants who flocked together in the sandalwood forest, and the blowing wind agitated the minds of the damsels there for further sexual enjoyment. Purport. Whenever there is a nice atmosphere in the material world, immediately there is an awakening of the sexual appetite in the minds of materialistic persons. This tendency is present everywhere within this material world, not only on this earth but in higher planetary systems also. In complete contrast with the influence of this atmosphere in the minds of the living entities within the material world is the description of the spiritual world. The women there are hundreds and thousands of times more beautiful than the women here in this material world, and the spiritual atmosphere is also many times better. That's all women except for you.
Okay.
Yet despite the pleasant atmosphere, the minds of the denizens do not become agitated, because in the spiritual world, the Vaikuntha planets, the spiritualistic minds of the inhabitants are so much absorbed in the spiritual vibration of chanting the glories of the Lord that such enjoyment cannot be surpassed by any other enjoyment, even sex, which is the culmination of all pleasure in the material world. Lord have mercy, kids. In other words, in the Vaikuntha world, in spite of its better atmosphere and facilities, there is no impetus for sex life. As stated in the Gita 259, Param Drishtva Navartate, the inhabitants of Vaikuntha excuse me, are so spiritually enlightened that in the presence of such spirituality, sex life, I should have put a comma there. In the presence of such spirituality, sex life is insignificant. So, as we're saying this, as a mother and father who just walked by with like 5 kids.
Yeah.
5 kids. Prabhupada, there's one story. Prabhupada met one gentleman, and he said, "Oh, this is my wife, this is my daughter, this is my other daughter, this is my son, this is my son's wife, this is their child, this is that, da, 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 da." And afterwards, because they went on for quite some time, Prabhupada said, "This is my sex life." Because that's basically, again and again, Prabhupada would mention that the entire material world is simply going on because of this impetus. If this were to stop, then, and that means if it were to stop, point blank, across the board, then actually, it's not just humans, it's there in all the animal species, so that's how they reproduce. And then you have, even the trees. Now the trees and stuff, they're a little bit different, but still is the principle of that pollination, but the sex are just a little bit different. But this world will basically come to a close, So it's a very powerful force. Prabhupada says here, it is the, what did he say? It's the highest in the material world. Anyway. So it says it's the highest. I think he said, wasn't it?
Which is the culmination of all pleasure in the material world.
Yeah, the culmination of all pleasure in the material world. So it's a very addictive principle, but it's what keeps the world going on. But what's powerful is that if you get the higher taste, param drishrana bhartate, then you no longer have any appetite or inclination or desire for that that type of life. We've got a friend here.
Hello, Bubby.
Just sniffing it out. Wanted to hear the Bhagavatam. Okay, so so I guess we can finish there. Next we'll start with text 31.
Yeah.
Okay, so have a happy 4th of July or 5th of July when you're watching this.
Well, no, that's when America decided to leave England.
Yeah, but our viewers hopefully are not just from England.
Oh, okay.
We have viewers from all over the world.
And
we have
cosmos.
earthlings. We have in the cosmos. Yes, I mean, look, there's demigods that gather around Krishna Brahmana.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's but yeah, okay. So it is the cessation of the United States from England.
And didn't they do well?
Oh.
To be controversial.
To be controversial. One may argue. Okay, anyway, please read the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the
cessation of your material life.
That's right. To help you secede from materialistic life and enter into the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Go Premanandi. Hari Hari Bo.